You might ask the question, where do I get a really good cup of coffee on the road as a trucker? We'll take it from the father trucker. You gotta bring your own because there's not really a whole lot of places to get a good cup of coffee on the road. Hey, stay tuned. We're going to talk a little bit about respect today. Hang in there. Hey, everybody, it's the Father Trucker here, and I have wanted to share some thoughts with you about the issue of respect. And I promise I won't sing that wonderful old song, Respect, but I'd like you to find out what it means to me. The dictionary defines respect as having a pretty good case of admiration for someone based on their accomplishments or their abilities or something that they have done. And as a trucker, you might have respect for somebody who is doing the heavy haul, or maybe they're doing a difficult piece of highway that they run, or maybe they do all of their own maintenance, or they've got their truck just looking fantastic. And when you see them, you just have some respect for them based on what they've done or what they're doing, or based on how they do things. And listen, I think there was a day where society in general had a pretty good case of respect for truckers. I think that was pretty common, that people would see these big trucks going down the road and they would kind of tip their hat. The kids would give it the old pull the horn sign, and people would look at you and think, man, that's something that person can do that. And having just driven through an ice storm up here in Ottawa, Canada, those kind of days, I tell you, there were people all around that would have seen us doing the stuff that we do out here, and they would have tipped the hat and thought, respect, like, thank you for doing what you do, and I appreciate the fact that you get the product to the point of its destination so I can buy what I need or use what I need in a factory setting or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I got to be honest, that seems like it is a different day. As we roll down the highway in these big trucks, I'm not seeing a lot of really good positive hand signals going on around me that often. In fact, there's some other hand signals that get shot up when somebody decides they don't like the fact that you had to take their lane to make a left turn or something like that. And so we can feel that at times as drivers out on the highway, wondering, why do we do what we do? And when people don't respect you, it can have a pretty good impact on how sometimes maybe you view yourself. And I'm not saying that we should base our value on what other people think of us, but come on, we're humans, right? And so when we do something well and with excellence and with integrity, it's nice to be appreciated. It's nice to have someone say, good job. It's nice to have someone stand back. I'll never forget, I was backing into a loading dock one day, and it was a pretty tight little corner I was going into. And this little old lady was walking around watching, and she just stood there, and her eyes were as big as 50-cent pieces, my dad used to say. And when I hit that dock and got it all lined up and parked, that lady came over to me and she said, wow, that's really impressive that you were able to put that big truck and trailer in that spot. And that made me feel respect, right? Like, and she was a lady from a different day and a different age. And so maybe that's part of the gift that day was. But what do you do about that? When you are driving these big trucks down the highway and when you are trying to get the job done, what do you do when you don't feel that public respect? What do you do when you know how hard you're working and all that you are doing to get the job done, and it seems like maybe people don't appreciate it? What do you do? And so, a couple of thoughts I just want to share with you. You know that the Father Trucker always goes back to the Bible. That is my source of truth. That's where I find the answers that I need. And when I go to the Bible, here's what I find that God looks at his creation, he looks at us, and he says in one of the Psalms, Psalm 139 actually, he says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And when he sees us as valuable. He sees us as worthwhile. He looks at us and he says, right on, I am so glad with the way that I made you. And I'm really thrilled with the things that you do and you can do. And I'm honestly, I think that's pretty cool, right? And so maybe the next time when you're running down the highway and you're feeling like, does anybody care? Does anybody even notice what I'm doing out here? Does anyone notice how hard this job is some days? A whole lot of work for maybe not the money that it's deserving of. And maybe the solution, try this. The Father Trucker is going to give you a nudge here, but try this. Just pause for a second, and you may not believe it. You may not think it's true. It may not be something that you have yet bought into, but just try this. How would it change the way that you view yourself and that you view what you do as a trucker out here on the highways? How would it change everything if you knew that God looked at you and he said, fearfully and wonderfully made? Hey, that's a couple of truths to pass on with you. I'm going to go back to drinking this really good cup of coffee before it gets warm, and I'm going to get this truck off the highway before the next round of ice comes through, because it's coming. Hey, God bless you. Stay safe, and we'll talk soon. This is the Father Trucker. And hey, if you want to find out how to fully understand and just live in light of the way God sees you, can I encourage you to go into the Father Trucker Library? There's a presentation in there of the gospel. It says the bad news and the good news. It's a little long, but it tells you the whole story about how God sees you, feels about you, and what he did to show his love for you. So let me encourage you to take a look at that. And if there's a trucker out there that you know that needs to be encouraged, please share these videos with them, because that's why we do what we do.